Hey everyone, welcome to Two Guys and a Mouse, the show where we give you news, tips, and tricks to get you the most out of your Disney vacation.
Hey everyone, welcome to the show. Les and I are here today. We're going to talk about the EPCOT Food and Wine Festival. Now, Les, that Food and Wine Festival, that goes from what, July?
Yeah, so it's basically July 15th, and that goes through November 20th of this year. So it's already started, but plenty of time to plan a trip and go and enjoy the festivities.
Cool. I personally have never been to a Food and Wine Festival at EPCOT, but I heard it's a pretty good time. So you want to tell the viewers a little bit about what it's all about and if you've ever been there?
Sure. So I've been there a few times now, and let me tell you, it's basically a food aficionado's paradise, right? So every country that's in the World Showcase at Epcot, along with many other smaller booths, they're all going to have their own fare, their own drinks, alcoholic and non-alcoholic. So it's lots and lots of dishes, different drinks, cooking techniques. Now, I think what they did this year was because of COVID, unfortunately, they cut out a lot of
Yeah.
the special events where you get to meet like celebrity chefs and stuff like that. But hopefully
Gotcha.
that returns for next year. But still lots of
Yeah.
food, just nonstop eating, drinking. That's wines, craft beers, spirits,
Ooh.
pretty much something for everybody. Desserts, besides your
Yeah,
main
I'm into craft
entrees.
beers for sure.
Yeah. So it's
So
really good time.
Okay. So let's back up the truck a little bit. For people who are brand new to Walt Disney World vacationing, uh, let's give a little bit of background. So I've been going to Disney since I was a little kid, and actually vacationing at Walt Disney World, staying on property since 2015. Uh, Les, how long have you been doing the Walt Disney World thing?
So I unfortunately didn't get to go as a kid, but I went for the first time in 2011, and I got hooked immediately. So uh,
Yeah.
not sure how many times I've been there back. I've been back since, but uh, 2011 was the first time. Went back again in 2015, and since I've been back a lot.
Gotcha. Now, did you stay on property the first time you went down, or?
So the first time we stayed at the All Star Music Resort, which is one of the economy resorts. But I'll tell you what, even though it's an economy resort, we still had a
Yeah.
fantastic time. No
Oh, for
complaints
sure.
about the resort at all, even though it's an economy. You don't get
Right.
some of the frills that you do with the moderates or the premium resorts, but still a great time.
Yeah. Me personally, the first time I stayed on property, I took Yoshi down in 2015. We stayed at the Pop Century, so say pretty much similar experience, Value Resort. Now, for the viewers who don't know, if you're brand new to Walt Disney World vacationing, Disney has three, technically four tiers of resort. So you have your Value Resorts, and they're going to be a no frills type of resort. You know, you have a pool, you got a bed to sleep in. The rooms are really nice and spacious for what they are. Uh, there's a cafeteria, you have a gift shop. Most of the resorts will have an arcade and a playground for the kids to play around in. All of the resorts have pools that are heated to 82 degrees, even in the winter and summer. So the pools are really nice. So the next step up from that is your moderate resorts. And your moderate resorts are going to give you a little bit more frills than the value resorts. You're going to have more pool options. You're going to have a hot tub at the pool. You're going to have more pool bars, and you're going to have more eating options. Okay, the rooms are going to be a little bit bigger, and some of them even have the ability for you to sleep a fifth person with a little Murphy bed. And you're going to pay a little bit more money, but if you like to hang out at the resort and you like to do resorty type things, you know, the moderate resorts are going to be a little bit more akin to that. Now, your next step up from that is going to be your deluxe resorts, and your deluxe resorts are really where the resort terminology really kicks into play. So at the deluxe resorts, it's all encompassing. As an example, I stayed at one of the deluxe resorts called um, Wilderness Lodge, and Wilderness Lodge is right on Bay Lake. Um, So it's right near Magic Kingdom. You can actually take a boat to Magic Kingdom. But the nice thing about the deluxe resorts is you have vast options for eating. I believe the Wilderness Lodge has like 5 restaurants and like 2 different bars plus the pool bar. Um, and that's actually my only experience with a deluxe resort. But the next step up from that, and this is really where Les has more expertise than I, is the deluxe villas, because those are mainly reserved for the Disney Vacation Club members, which Les is a part of. And Les, you want to tell the viewers a little bit about the deluxe villas and what DVC is?
So DVC is Disney's version of a timeshare program. It's the Disney Vacation Club, and you're essentially buying into their timeshare, and it works on a point system, and each of the resorts has a different value. So the deluxe resorts like Grand Floridian, the Polynesian, those types of deluxe resorts are going to have a higher price point for what you're going to pay per point. And then Disney has a minimum amount of points that you're going to have to buy. And it used to be 100, but if I'm not mistaken, I think they're going to increase that to 150 point minimum. If they haven't already, it'll be happening in the future. So you'll take that 150 points times whatever the price per point is, and that's what the value of your contract is going to be. So I am an owner at the Polynesian Resort. I bought directly from Disney, and when you do that, it has some perks that you don't get if you buy from a resale company. So I also have a resale contract at Saratoga Springs, and but buying direct through Disney is where it's at if you're looking for all of the benefits that come along with being a DVC member. So you get what they call the blue card. So if you buy resale, you have a yellow card, and the blue card gets you 10% discount at when you go shopping or when you go dining, and you can use your points to do Disney cruises, where if you're resale yellow card member, you can't do that. And so if you want to sign up, they have you pick a home resort. So like I picked the Polynesian, and back in 2015 we bought 100 points, and that's our home resort. So what that means, having a home resort, is you can book your vacation 11 months out. So if you know, well, I want to go in Christmas of 2022. Well, I know that by the end of January, in February, I hit that 11th month window, and now I can book my vacation for Christmas time 2022, so 11 months out. If you don't want to go at your home resort, so if I didn't want to go to Polynesian, I wanted to go to Grand Floridian or any one of the other DVC resorts, then I can do that at 7 months out. So the reason for the gap is that whoever's at that home resort has basically first dibs on booking rooms at their 11th month mark, and then as the rooms fill up, then you get to the 7th month mark, and sometimes you get a room, sometimes you don't. So, but Disney Vacation Club has been fantastic. We love it. If we didn't, we wouldn't have bought a second contract. So
True.
It's not for everybody. I'll just say right now, it's not for everybody. And definitely look into it if you're interested. Ask as many questions as you can, and find out if it's going to work for you.
No, I agree with you. My personal experience with Disney vacationing has not been with the DVC, but it's been through a travel partner, and what Disney refers to as a travel agent, but it's a little bit nicer terminology. But we have used a travel partner ever since 2015, and I'll tell you what, it is worth it. So whether you are a Disney veteran and you've vacationed there a ton of times, or you're brand new, and let me tell you, when you're brand new, it can get overwhelming as far as all the different options, 60 days, 90 days, doing your dining reservations, and you have to pick when fast passes were a thing, picking your fast passes, right? And oh, do we check in online? Do we not check in online? Use a travel partner. My travel partner has been wonderful. She takes care of everything. She's the one that gets up at 6 in the morning to book the dining reservation. She's the one that monitors for the discounts, which I always tell people, if you're going to book Disney, book early as you can. Book as early as you know, because what happens is um, your travel partner will monitor and troll for discounts, and they will apply those discounts as soon as they become available, right? If you wait, you may miss a discount, and unfortunately, they won't retroactively give you a discount. So if you book early, let's say I like to book, 360 days out. I know when I want to travel. So I'll have my travel partner pick a date, and we agree on the contract. Boom, we go, and we're locked in. I give my $200 deposit, and it's, by the way, you put a $200 deposit down, fully refundable, up until 30 days before your arrival date. And so if anything changes or something happens, fully refundable. Um, you put a $200 deposit down, and then you make interest-free payments all the way up to your final payment, which is due 30 days before your arrival date. Anyway, so the travel partner will go through all that, and she'll troll for the discounts. And I book rack rate 360 days out. So let's say I want to stay at, say, Boulder Ridge, and it's $550 a night for however many nights I stay there plus my tickets. Let's say 6 months or 6 weeks goes by, they put a discount out. She will apply that discount, so now I'm paying less. So after everything's all said and done, you never pay rack rate, especially if you book with a travel partner. The best thing about it is you don't have to pay them. They are paid through Disney. So 100% no cost to you. It's completely free service. And again, Disney will pay the travel partner. So 100% recommend doing that. And if DVC makes sense for you, I go DVC, because if you know you're going to go every year, then DVC really makes the most sense, because year over year the cost really, it pays for itself, doesn't it, Les?
Over time, definitely, and just a real snippet, quick snippet from the way that the sales gentleman proposed it to us was, and he asked us to be very honest, was, how often do you plan on coming to Disney? And he took
Right.
all those answers that we gave him, and he basically drew it out on a piece of paper and showed inflation, and basically the line to stay at DVC was relatively straight across. There will be slight
Right.
increase. It is a timeshare, at the end of the day. So there are maintenance fees that you have to pay, just like any timeshare that's out there, at least the major ones. So your maintenance.
You pay those anyway when you buy Disney anyways. Like when you buy Disney Vacation, that's rolled into it. You don't know it, but you're paying that anyway, and that's what makes the cost go up also. So I mean, it's really no different.
Right.
I would think.
Right.
Then.
So I did a 10-year loan,
Mm-hmm.
and so yes, I'm paying to stay at Disney for 10 years, but the contract for me to stay at Polynesian was for 50 years, and that's based on
Right.
the lease that's determined by Disney, not by how
Gotcha.
long I want to be a part of the UC. So
Right.
I pay for the first 10 years, and every time I go, my room is already covered because I'm paying that loan back. But after 10 years, if I make the minimum payment and I take the full 10 years to pay my loan, then for the next 40 years, I'm not paying anything but my maintenance fees to go stay
Right.
a week at Disney, or however long my points
or
get me.
or more. Yeah, I was going
Right.
to say or more, because with the amount of points you have, you can go twice a year, realistically, or more than that. Like you could, you're also an annual pass holder, so you could, in effect, you don't even need to go for a week. You could just go, hey, this weekend I'm going to take a long weekend from work, fly down to Orlando, hit the parks for a couple of days, and then fly back, right?
As
Provided that they have availability for the rooms and
Right.
whatnot. But
Provided there's availability, and trying to book that short may be extremely challenging, but there are ways around it. There's always
Right.
going to be other DVC members who maybe can't take a vacation this year, and so what they'll do is, instead of basically losing their investment and losing those points, a lot of them will turn around and they'll sell them on various sites that you can find on the internet. And the company will pay them for their points, and then that company turns around and they make a little bit of profit, but you can buy
Mm-hmm.
points, and those points are readily available, so you can go on very short notice.
Gotcha. Nice stuff. So now that we've covered the different resort types and ways to get to Disney, let's talk a little bit about the dates that the Food and Wine Festival is happening. So you know it's from July to October. So you know Disney does different tiers based on or different pricing tiers based on the time that you're going. So you know be aware, guys. You want to plan ahead, and you want to make sure that hey, the Food and Wine Festival goes from July to October. If you know you're not a hot weather person, I would recommend staying away from Florida in July and August. You know, um, Les, would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, right now, as we record this, we're in the summer, so that's prime time for families to vacation because kids are out of
Right.
school, and families don't have to pull children out of their classes. So yeah, you go in the
Right.
summer. Not only are you paying a premium to stay there and play there by going to the
Mm-hmm.
parks, but you know, travel all around is going to be a lot more expensive in the summertime. So I personally like to go in the fall. The weather in Florida is more receptible. The humidity's not as bad. The crowds typically aren't as bad, although October seems to be getting busier as time moves on. I think October is
Yeah.
considered off season up until you get to Thanksgiving. Then it fills back up again, and the prices go back up at Thanksgiving time. But typically October was a really good time to go. But it seems like more and more people are catching on to that. But
Right.
it's still one of our favorite times to go. And
Yeah. Well, it's not quite as hot. And let me ask you this: going in October versus so I've gone in November, like right after Thanksgiving, and it always felt like I was kind of getting robbed with the parks because they do close a little earlier, but also, with the time change and everything, it gets dark at like 5 o'clock. So it's pitch black, and I'm at Epcot trying to eat something in November, and it's cold and it's dark and everything like that. How is October as compared to like say November or even Christmas time during the Very Merry? How is October?
a little bit of what you said. So it's just going to get darker earlier. We find, especially my wife and my daughter, it have a tendency to get cooler, like you said. So we're bringing light jackets. Yes, it's Florida, and yes, it's hot during the day, but it does cool down at night. So you bring a light jacket, you bring a sweatshirt. Usually, you're
Right.
okay. With the lower crowds, we find it really enjoyable. I've been there. I've been there in August. We've taken the kids when school was out, so I've been there in the thick of
Mhm.
summer. I've been there in the spring. I've been there spring heading into summer and the fall. Uh, Never personally been there at Thanksgiving time or Christmas time, but
Okay.
we really enjoy the fall. And at this point, Disney is already changing over the park decorations to fall decorations right now. Anyway, in preparation for
Oh,
Boo Bash, which is coming up at Magic Kingdom shortly.
gotcha. Previously called the Not So Scary Halloween Party, which another topic for a different day. But yeah, I mean, so if you are going to travel down to Walt Disney World, step number one is figure out when you want to go and plan ahead. A lot of people, especially in my family, they don't like to plan ahead, and they will definitely try last minute stuff. My recommendation is always plan ahead. I know you like to plan ahead, like you book 11 months out. I like to book 260 days out. Um, because you're going to get the most out of it. So that's step one: is plan ahead. The next thing is you know kind of figure out where you want to stay. If you want to hang out at the resorts more, and if so, do you want to spend a little bit more money to stay in a moderate or even a deluxe resort, or is a value resort okay for you? I personally, as I've experienced the higher tier resorts, for me personally, the value resorts, they're nice. I'll stay there. I don't mind staying there, but I like all the amenities that the deluxe resorts give you. So, I figure out where you want to stay, and then another big part of your trip planning should be figure out what you want to eat and where you want to eat. And people think that I'm insane for asking about, hey, give me your food wish list ahead of time, and they're like, dude, we're not going for 6 months. I'm like, yeah, but if you want to eat somewhere in particular, I gotta know so we can make the dining reservations. But yeah, that's a topic for another episode. But I mean, as as a as a sum up, Les, what would you say are your most important topics as far as like getting started in trip planning? What are your key points that our viewers should know? For a first time Disney person who's never done it before, what would you impart on them?
So the to the room, like you said, do what you can afford. You're not going to go wrong at any of the resorts. The cast
True, this is
members,
true.
which are what the employees are called at Disney, are going to take care of you no matter what resort you're at. You're just
That's true.
not going to have, like you had stated earlier, if you're at a value resort, you're basically in like a cafeteria is what the food choices are going to be, where you walk in and it's kind of a la carte. You pick whatever you want, you walk up to the register, you pay for it, you sit down.
Still
Whereas
really good food though.
still really good food.
Yep, absolutely.
Food is always high quality. I very rarely have complaints about the food.
Right.
And usually if I do, it's because of some extreme circumstance that is typically not the norm. So the room, get what you can afford. Restaurants, it used to be that you could book restaurants 6 months out. With COVID, Disney has changed some of the rules, so right now you can only book dining reservations 60 days out, so you went from 6 months to 2 months essentially, and they go very quickly.
They do.
So
Especially if you want to sit down somewhere, you know.
if you do, if you're gonna be,
Yeah.
and we're not just talking restaurants that are in the parks. I mean, we're talking there's famous, very highly sought after reservations that are restaurants in the resorts
Oh yeah.
themselves.
Oh yeah, Victoria and Albert's, this Yachtsman. That's one of my personal favorites is the Yachtsman. I've never been to Victoria and Albert's. It's on the bucket list.
Or even Disney Springs, right, which is open to the public, so anybody
It's
can
true.
go there. So, I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
not only are you fighting the guests that are there to go to the parks and stay in the resorts, but now you're fighting the general public for the restaurants at the Disney Springs. So
Yeah.
the passes, we haven't talked about the passes. Just very quickly, are you going to get a standard ticket for a park, or do you want a park hop? So park hopping is where you can visit two parks in the same day. And
Hmm.
so right now you have to have a park reservation, which again is a whole nother topic that we can cover later on. But you
Yeah,
have to have a
absolutely.
ticket, and then you have to make a park reservation in one of the four parks. So
Hmm.
now let's just say that we go to Magic Kingdom today, and now it's 2 o'clock. So usually 2 o'clock is where you can start jumping to other parks. So
Right.
Food and
As
Wine
long as
is
you showed up at your initial park,
right.
for the day, you have to go to your first park, just because of the reservations and everything right now. But didn't you always used to be like that? But during these at the time of recording, we're still in amidst the pandemic. So, if you're watching this in the future, uh, this may or may not apply to you. But just be aware. Disney has a wonderful know before you go site. Just make sure that you're informed, and this all goes back to that planning ahead thing. I like to plan ahead. I like to know what I'm getting into. Um, you know, Next episode we're going to cover stuff like how are you going to get to Disney? How are we going to get around while we're down there? And what kind of passes do we want? And you know, is it worth it to get the Park Hopper or Park Hopper Plus and the different tiers, or even an annual pass? But yeah, so you know, guys, thanks for joining us on this episode. We really appreciate you stopping by. If you wouldn't mind, please subscribe and turn on notifications so that you know whenever we release new content. And we'll see you guys next time.